A sleek conference room in downtown Minneapolis, all polished wood and soft lighting, with a tray of fancy mineral water on the sideboard. The air's thick with nervous energy, and at the head of the table is Victor Hensley, CEO of Sterling and Vail, a real estate powerhouse. Victor's staring at the double doors like they're about to spit fire. In 10 minutes, a group of French investors are walking in for a pitch that could make or break the company's multi-million-dollar expansion into Europe. This isn't just a deal, it's Victor's legacy, the kind of thing he wants his name on for decades. But there's a problem, a big one. The translator they hired for this meeting, nowhere to be found. Victor's assistant, a sharp woman named Clara in a crisp blazer, is practically vibrating with stress. I called him 3 times, she says, her voice tight. He's not picking up. Call the agency. Victor snaps, tugging at his tie. I did. They said he never checked in this morning. Victor's hand freezes on his temple. For months of pre-designing this very room, custom Montblanc pens, every detail perfect down the drain, because no one thought to double-check the interpreter. He turns to his head of international strategy, a woman named Simone Duval, who's flipping through her notes like they might magically solve this. I swear I signed off on this weeks ago, she mutters. Victor's glare could cut glass. Well, it's not handled. They're here in 6 minutes. Unless someone here learned fluent French over the weekend, we're screwed. The room goes quiet. The execs, all in their tailored suits, stare at their shoes. Nobody's got an answer. Victor paces to the tinted glass wall, tapping it with a knuckle, like he's hoping the answer's hiding in the reflection. Outside, the hallway's gleaming, the air hums with ventilation, and across the way, there's a cleaning closet. Useless. Find someone, he barks. Anyone. There's got to be someone in this building who speaks enough French. Too late. The doors swing open. 4 French investors step in, sharp suits, sharper eyes, led by a woman in a tailored beige coat. Their voices are polite, but they're sizing up the room like hawks. Victor forces a smile, steps forward, and sticks out his hand. By Vainway, he says, butchering the vowels. Welcome to Sterling and Vail. The investors exchange glances. One of them, a tall guy with grey hair named Julien Moreau, gives a tight nod. Nobody else speaks. Victor's sweating now. He tries again. News, sums prats. He fumbles, pulling out his phone to a translation app. The robotic voice spits out, "We are ready to begin," but it's flat, wrong, cold. The investors look confused. One raises an eyebrow. Victor's hands are clammy, his team's frozen, and he's praying for a miracle. Then, from the back of the room, near a trash can, someone clears their throat. It's soft but deliberate. Every head turns. A lean guy in a grey janitor's uniform stands there, holding a trash bag in one hand, a rag in the other. His name tag reads, Leon. He's got this calm, steady vibe, like he's not fazed by the suits or the stakes. I believe what Monsieur Hensley means to say. Leon starts, in flawless Parisian French, is that he's grateful for your time and hopes today's meeting builds something valuable for both sides. The room stops. Victor blinks. The investors blink. Julien, the grey-haired guy, actually looks impressed. Mercy, he says, a real smile breaking through. Leon nods, sets down the trash bag, and steps forward, not pushy, just present. I can assist with interpretation if needed, he says in English, voice low but clear. If that's all right. Victor's mouth opens, then shuts. The room's his, but it's not. Everyone, investors, execs, is staring at the janitor like he just walked out of a movie. But there's a flicker on Victor's face, and it's not gratitude, it's unease. For a split second, the whole room holds its breath, waiting to see how Victor Hensley, Big Shot CEO, will handle being bailed out by the guy who cleans the floors. Victor forces a tight smile. Thank you, Leon. Is it? Yes, sir. Victor gestures to the table. Please, have a seat. Leon doesn't sit. Instead, he pulls the rag from his pocket, folds it neatly, and lays it on the trash bag by the door, like he's marking a boundary. Then he steps up beside Victor, facing the investors. Messieurs, mesdames, he says in French, smooth as silk, we appreciate your patience. Let's begin with today's presentation on the Midwestern portfolio. Victor clicks the remote. A slide lights up. Downtown Minneapolis redevelopment, projected yield 11.8%. He clears his throat and dives in. Gentlemen, this project sits 3 blocks from the Mississippi riverfront, Construction costs have stabilized, and Leon slides in, translating phrase by phrase, matching Victor's energy but polishing it. Where Victor's sentences wander, Leon's are tight. Where Victor's stats sound like hype, Leon makes them feel like truth carved in stone. 10 minutes in, Julian raises a finger. Votre estimation des coûts inclutel les taxes recentes. Leon translates. He asks if your cost estimate accounts for the new city tax on commercial builds. Victor says, that tax hit last month, buried in some city council memo he barely skimmed. His collar feels tight. We're reviewing the ordinance, he hedges. Initial projections show minimal impact. Leon relays it, keeping it crisp. Julian tilts his head. Quelle marge de maneuver avez-vous? How much cushion do you have? Leon translates. The table waits. Victor's mouth dries up. Simone, 2 seats down, shuffles papers but stays quiet. The silence stretches. Finally, Victor says, 5% contingency. Leon repeats it, adding, the team is prepared to adjust scope if needed. That last bit wasn't in Victor's answer. Victor shoots him a look as the janitor improvising. But Julian nods, jotting something on his tablet. Satisfied. Victor pushes through the slides glass towers, zoning, permits, leasing strategies. Leon keeps up, never missing a beat. Even fixing Victor's flubs, like saying lawyers instead of buyers, without making it obvious. But the cracks keep showing. Every time a question hits, Victor hesitates. When he throws out jargon, like a bit to harmonization, Leon turns it into plain French that actually makes sense. The investors aren't annoyed anymore, they're intrigued, even chuckling at points. A younger investor, Marc Dubois, asks about local housing activists who protested a past project. Victor stumbles, muttering about community engagement. Leon's translation is poised, but the gap's clear. Outside, through the tinted glass, staff from marketing and HR are watching like it's a reality show. Phones. Leon's face doesn't move. You had an important meeting. I helped with the language. No, Victor says, staring. You didn't just help, you led the room. Silence. Victor's eyes narrow. How long have you worked here? Almost. For years. And you speak French like that? I was born in Dakar, Senegal, Leon says. Studied at university there, then taught linguistics in Lyon for 7 years. Worked as a language consultant for an embassy in Paris for 3. My wife and I moved here for her family in Edina. We wanted quiet. Victor lets that sink in. You taught in Lyon, and now you mop floors. Leon shrugs. I like the hours. I read in the mornings, watch birds. I didn't stop using my mind, just stopped using it for someone else's business. Victor leans against the wall, arms crossed. He's not sure what's worse, that this guy's been under his nose for years, or that he never thought to ask who he was. Why didn't you say anything? You never asked. The words hit like a mirror. Victor straightens. We should talk about something permanent. Global relations, maybe. I don't need a new position, Leon says, soft but firm. Victor scoffs. You saved that deal. I offered a skill that was useful. That's not the same as wanting a title. Victor laughs, dry. You know what this'll do to the company Grapevine. I imagine people will talk. You imagine, right? Victor shakes his head. I've already seen the looks. They both know the staff were watching through the glass. Phones ready. By now, the story's probably halfway across the building. Victor rubs his neck. I don't get it. A guy like you could be teaching at the UI here. Leon pauses. Let me ask you something. Why do you do what you do? Victor's caught off guard. He opens his mouth, closes it. Money, power, those faded years ago. I'm building something, he says finally. For my name, for the company, for the industry. Leon nods. That's a fine reason. Mine was different. I'd already built my name. Then my wife got sick. I stepped away. After she passed, I didn't want a classroom. I wanted silence, something steady, where no one asked for more than I was ready to give. Victor's face softens, just a fraction. And now, Leon smiles faintly. Now, I have my mornings free. And when I'm here, I listen. I hear how people treat each other when they think no one important's around. I've learned more about this company with a mop than I would have with a badge. Victor's got nothing for that. The words aren't smug, they're earned. Just then, Clara peeks through the hallway door. They want to debrief in conference room C 30 minutes before the investor dinner. Also, she hesitates. There's a Slack thread about Leon already. Of course there is, Victor mutters. He looks at Leon. You sure you don't want to come to the dinner? No, Leon says, polite but firm. They've heard what they needed. Victor nods, then again, slower. I might call you tomorrow. You're welcome to, Leon says. Just don't do it because people are watching. Do it if you're ready to hear me. Victor heads off with Clara. Leon picks up his trash bag, folds his rag, and walks to the service elevator. But as the doors close, he doesn't know someone recorded part of that meeting, and it's not staying quiet for long. Asterisk that evening, at a fancy steak dinner in Waysata with the French investors, one of their team shows the clip to Julien Moreau, the grey-haired lead investor. He watches in silence, nods, and says he should have been the one pitching. Back at Sterling and Vale, the video hasn't hit the board yet, but the buzz is everywhere. On the 8th floor, Victor Hensley sits alone in his office, shades half drawn, phone buzzing non-stop, texts from other CEOs, reporters, even a venture capitalist he hasn't talked to in years. The irony stings. He spent millions on slick campaigns, chasing viral moments, and now the internet's obsessed with the day he got outshined by a guy in custodial coveralls. Victor hits play again. Leon's voice fills the room, steady, dignified. He leans back, rubs his eyes, then his door creaks open. Clara, his assistant, pokes her head in. HR wants a meeting. Legal. PR is pushing for a statement before this gets bigger. It's already big, Victor says, waving at his phone. Then they want to stay ahead of the next explosion. Victor gestures to the screen. They think I planned this, like I hid him for a stunt. Clara hesitates. You kind of were hiding him, just not on purpose. That cuts deeper than he expects. She's not wrong. She sits across from him, exhaling. The interns are calling him the professor now. Victor chuckles. Dry, better than the janitor, I guess. Clara leans in, serious. Listen, Victor, you can still lead this, but don't spin it. Don't act like you always knew who he was. This isn't about you. He meets her eyes. The air feels heavy. I didn't see him, he admits. For years in this building, and I barely said goodnight. Most people didn't, she says. That's the point. Victor picks up his phone, stares at the frozen frame of Leon translating. Posture relaxed, like he's not proving anything. Tell PR no statement yet. I want to talk to him first. Clara raises an eyebrow. You think he'll take your call? Victor shrugs. He took a chance on me in that room. I owe him the respect. Meanwhile, Leon's on a park bench by Lake Nokomis, watching ducks glide across the water. He doesn't have a smartphone, just a flip phone with 2 numbers, his nephew and his doctor. But his neighbor's teenage son already knocked on his door earlier. You're trending on TikTok, Mr. Carter. Leon smiled, thanked him, but he's got no clue what TikTok is. Now, in the quiet, he pulls a paperback from his jacket, a French copy of To Kill a Mockingbird, and starts reading. His phone buzzes. Unknown number. He lets it ring, then answers. Hello, Leon. It's Victor Hensley. A pause. I know it's late, but I wanted to thank you again. Can we meet? No pressure. Leon's voice is calm. Tomorrow morning, courtyard by the employee entrance, 7:15. Bring coffee. Click. What Leon doesn't know is that someone in legal's already drafting a plan to put him on every major media outlet Sterling and Vale can reach. He's never wanted to be a headline, but the machine's already moving. Next morning, 7 a.m., Leon walks to the courtyard in his usual navy work jacket, a faint whiff of lemon cleaner on the cuffs. The sun's barely up, the campus quiet. Victor's already there, on a bench with 2 coffees from the cafe across the street. He looks tired, not just sleep-deprived, but like he's finally hearing the noise of his own world. Leon nods, sits, and takes the coffee Victor offers. Because you think this is about giving me something, a role, a title, something to make you feel like you fixed it. Leon's voice is steady. You can't fix what you haven't admitted. You overlooked me. Your whole team did. Victor folds the offer away. So what do I do? Start by listening. Not just to me. Walk the floor. Learn the names of the people who clean your offices. Talk to the ones who never get invited to all-hands meetings. You'll find your blind spots faster than any audit. Victor nods, slow. They sit a bit longer, coffee untouched. Before they part, Leon pulls out a plain white business card, just his name and number. If you want a real conversation, not a campaign. Victor takes it like it's made of glass. Leon stands, nods, and walks off. But later that day, at 3 p.m., HR calls a surprise staff meeting, and the building's about to hear what really went down, not from Victor, but from the moment itself. The conference room's packed, all 12 floors of Sterling and Vale buzzing. Emails were vague, staff gathering, mandatory, and whispers are flying. Layoffs, an apology. The TikTok video. Victor walks in, no podium, no notes, just steps to the center. "I won't take long," he says, "but I need to say something." Overdue. The room quiets. He looks not at the department heads, but at the back rows, maintenance, cafeteria, security in their jackets. He makes eye contact with each. "Yesterday, we had a meeting with investors from Marseille. Tanked. No translator, no plan, no fix. But someone stepped in, someone who didn't owe us anything, someone we never really saw." He glances at Leon, standing by the door, arms crossed. Same uniform, same calm. If he's uneasy being the focus, it doesn't show. Victor continues. Leon Carter saved that meeting, not by luck, not by chance. He saved it because he knew what to do, because he spent decades building skills we never asked about. Murmurs ripple. A few staff glance at Leon, some with quiet shame. "I didn't know his background," Victor admits. "I didn't ask. That's on me, and I'm not proud. We've built a culture here that rewards loud voices and shiny resumes, but misses quiet brilliance, standing 5 feet away with a mop." He pauses. Leon doesn't want a title or attention. What he asked for, what I owe him, is change. He nods to HR. "Next quarter, we're launching Floor Up, a program to bring voices from every level into strategy reviews. No filters, no scripts. And I'll be walking the building weekly, not with a phone, not with PR, just me, listening." A soft clap starts, then grows. The room fills with applause, but Leon stays still, watching. After, people approach him, thank him. Some shake his hand, others just nod, unsure how to bridge years of invisibility. A junior accountant, Sam, with thick glasses and a nervous shuffle, stops. "I always thought you were just, background." Leon raises an eyebrow. "And now, I want to ask you something. Like, what do you read? What do you know?" Leon smiles. "A little of everything." Sam scratches his head. "Would it be weird if I asked you to grab lunch sometime?" "Not at all," Leon says. "But you're paying." Sam laughs. Upstairs, Victor's back in his office, door closed. He feels lighter, not from shame lifting but from seeing something new. He looks at Leon's business card, no title, just a name and number. He dials voicemail. Leon's voice, warm. "You've reached Leon. If this is important, try again. If not, think about why you called." No beep, just silence. Victor chuckles, doesn't call back. He turns off his monitor, looks out the window for time in weeks. But 2 floors down, a new conversation's starting. Employees are asking each other questions they never thought to ask before. 2 days after the big staff meeting, Leon Carter shows up for his shift like always. Navy work jacket on, ready to wipe down glass doors and check air vents. But something's different. Taped to his locker is a folded note, no envelope, no name, just a scribbled message. "What else do you know?" No signature, but Leon recognizes the sharp, loopy handwriting. Probably Sam, the junior accountant with the thick glasses, curious and sincere. He tucks the note in his pocket and starts his rounds, swapping out dim light bulbs, tightening a loose hinge. Business as usual. Right. Not quite. As he works, people stop him. Not for selfies or gossip, but real questions. "What's the best way to learn French?" a receptionist asks. "What's Dakar really like?" A security guard wonders. One guy from marketing, bolder than the rest, asks, "Do you think we're good people here, or just pretending?" Each time, Leon answers nothing flashy, just honest, thoughtful, like he's been observing the world his whole life, which, well, he has. By noon, Victor Hensley finds him in the delivery bay, fixing a squeaky door. "Been thinking about what you said," Victor starts, leaning against the brick wall. "About how we don't ask." Leon looks up, wrench in hand. "And I want to fix that, but it's harder than I thought." Culture doesn't shift just because the CEO gives a speech. "No," Leon says, wiping his hands on a cloth. "It shifts when people stop waiting for permission to be human." Victor nods, feeling the weight of that. He crouches beside Leon. "Can I ask you something personal?" "Go ahead." "You said you had university offers when you got here. Why walk away from that?" Leon sets the wrench down. My wife Amara was dying. We'd been in France too long. She missed the sound of crickets, missed her family in Edina. We came here for peace, not prestige. I wasn't looking to be important. Victor's quiet for a second. But you're important now. No, Leon corrects. Steady. I'm visible now. That's not the same. The silence hangs. Victor's not used to being corrected so gently. She used to say, Leon adds, people only ask questions when they think there's something to gain. That's why no one asked about me for 4 years. I wasn't in anyone's equation. But now they're curious. That's a start. The door, Victor says, echoing him. But what's the hard part? Will they remember next week, next month? Or will I go back to being background when the story fades? Victor exhales. I don't want that to happen. Then don't. Build a story around me, Leon says. Build it around the question you should have asked years ago. Victor's staring at his screen. An internal survey showing a spike in satisfaction, not in marketing or acquisitions, but in janitorial, kitchen, reception. They're mad because they can't pretend anymore, he says. Because someone without a title showed titles don't mean much. Clara nods. You need to address it. If you don't set the tone, this resentment's gonna fester. Victor sighs. You think I'm still the right guy to set it? Yes, she says, but only if you mean it. In a sleek office overlooking the city, Executive VP Garrett Langston stirs sugar into his coffee, slow and deliberate. He's been with Sterling and Vale for 18 years, built their European playbook, and he's not thrilled a guy with no LinkedIn is now the company's moral poster child. I've been here nearly 2 decades, he grumbles to a junior partner, and now I'm supposed to learn from the janitor. The partner shifts uneasy. It's not just him, it's what he stands for. Exactly, Garrett snaps. He stands for tearing down hierarchy. He leans back, fuming. Give people like that a megaphone. They'll start demanding things. People like that. The phrase lingers, heavy and sour. But Garrett's not wrong about one thing. People are starting to ask for inclusion, transparency, a seat at the table, and not everyone at the top's ready to scoot over. Meanwhile, Leon keeps working. He ignores a fake memo posted online listing him as chief custodian of ethics. He brushes off an intern trying to snap a selfie in the stairwell. He even chuckles at a pair of tiny boxing gloves left in his supply closet. Note attached. Champion of wokeness, but not everything's a joke. One night, he finds his locker ajar, nothing taken, nothing broken, just a message. You're seen now. Watch it. He doesn't report it, doesn't tell HR, but he moves his locker closer to the mechanical room, where cameras never sleep. Victor hears about it anyway. From the cleaning supervisor who's got Leon's back, he calls Leon to his office. Why, didn't you say anything? Leon sits. It wasn't danger, it was discomfort. I've lived through worse. That's not good enough. It's reality. Leon leans forward. This company's changing. You're trying to push it forward, but not everyone wants that. Victor nods, slow. Then stop pushing. Leon says, start building something people want to walk toward. Victor's learning not to argue with Leon. Just listen. Before Leon leaves, Victor stops him. One more thing. There's a board meeting next week. I want you in the room. Leon tilts his head. Why? Someone's gonna bring up culture. I want them to say it with you there. Leon thinks, then smiles. All right, but no tie. Victor laughs. Deal. What they don't know is that Garrett Langston's already booked a private session with 2 board members. He's got a plan, and Leon's about to become the fall guy for the company's cultural drift. Asterisk, the boardroom feels different this time. No fancy pens or mineral water trays, just a long mahogany table and a hum of tension. Leon sits at the far end, out of his janitor's uniform, rocking a dark blue sweater, clean khakis, and worn brown leather shoes. He's more composed than anyone else in the room. To his right, Victor Hensley sits, hands folded, no slides, no notes, just watching. The 12 board members are here for their quarterly strategy review, but the agenda's been tweaked last minute. Organizational culture and public perception. Yeah, this is about Leon. Garrett Langston, the executive VP who's been stewing since Leon's viral moment, speaks third. He stands, adjusts his lapel, and strolls to the monitor like he owns the place. With all due respect, he starts, voice smooth but sharp. Sterling and Vale has always been about sharp minds and sharper strategies. We value merit. Results. He glances at Leon but avoids eye contact. Recently, we've seen a internal narrative that risks undermining leadership and prioritizing sentiment over skill. He pauses for effect. I'm not against equity. I'm against theatrics, dressed up as progress. A few heads nod. Most stay still. Victor's jaw tightens, but he holds back. Garrett's voice cools further. Mr. Carter is clearly intelligent, but he's not trained in our system's compliance, forecasting, risk models. Yet somehow, he's become the face of our values. That concerns me. He turns to Leon. Finally, I'd like to ask, what exactly do you bring to this table? Leon doesn't flinch. He takes a breath, stands slow, not defensive. I bring the perspective you forgot you needed. Silence. I don't speak in formulas or play politics, but I see patterns. I see people. I see how fast your culture rewards comfort over courage. He scans the room. I didn't come to take anyone's job. I came to remind you that intelligence doesn't always wear a suit, and silence isn't ignorance. A board member, Alina Torres, pipes up. Do you want a formal role here, Mr. Carter? Some say it's time we create one. Leon flips through it, spine cracking softly. Used books are the only ones worth keeping. They've been somewhere. Sam hesitates. You think you'll stay here? Depends, Leon says, if they keep asking the right questions. Sam grins. So we'll just have to keep you curious. Later that week, Victor steps into Leon's office, a cleaned-up supply closet with a desk and a lamp. He sets a small box down. Got something for you. Inside's a black fountain pen. Simple, no engraving. Leon holds it, looks up. What's this for? For the journal, Victor says. Someone should write down what's really happening here. Leon smiles. The trick isn't writing it down. It's living it long enough to make it worth the ink. They sit in quiet for a moment. Victor glances around. You still don't want a bigger office? No, Leon says. I want a better hallway. Victor tilts his head. What's that mean? Offices keep people out. Hallways, let them find you. Victor nods, not questioning it anymore, just hearing it. Before he leaves, Leon asks, why'd you really call me that day, after the meeting? Victor leans against the doorway, thoughtful. Because I was tired of being the smartest guy in a room full of people, too scared to tell me I wasn't. Leon chuckles. That's a good place to start. As Victor walks out, Leon opens his journal and writes 3 words at the top of a blank page. See who's here. Not what they do, not what they wear, not where they're from, just who. And from that day, the company starts to shift in ways that don't always grab headlines, but make all the difference. Asterisk, it's been 6 months since Leon Carter stood in that boardroom, facing down a skeptical exec and laying out a truth Sterling and Vale didn't know it needed. Brilliance doesn't need a title, and silence isn't absence. The cross-functional panel he helped shape is now a cornerstone of the company's rhythm. Every quarter, folks from every level, custodians, accountants, marketing leads, security guards sit at the same table. No hierarchy, no posturing. It's not perfect. Some meetings are messy, with too many voices or not enough. But they're real. People share ideas, call out problems, and sometimes just listen. Knowing their presence matters. Leon's still there, in his regular chair, not leading but guiding with a quiet nudge when the room needs it. Like when a maintenance worker mentioned how the new cleaning supplies were causing rashes for the night crew. A supply chain analyst took notes, and by the next week, better products were ordered. Small wins, but they stack up. The panel's not about grand gestures, it's about seeing people who were invisible before. Victor Hensley, the CEO, doesn't always attend. He's learned that showing up too often can make folks clam up, worried about impressing the boss. But when he does come, he's not the guy with the remote anymore. He's listening, scribbling notes, asking questions like, what's one thing we're doing that makes your job harder? The first time he asked that, a cafeteria worker named Rosa said the scheduling app didn't account for school pickups. Victor didn't promise the moon, just got IT to tweak the system. Rosa told her team about it, and suddenly, people who'd never spoken up before started raising their hands. Outside the panel, the company's vibe is shifting. It's not a fairy tale, there are still cliques, still egos, but the air's different. People nod at each other in the halls, not just the suits but the folks in work boots or aprons. The break room on the lowest floor, where that framed note still hangs, he didn't make a speech. He made space, has become a kind of hub. Someone started a book swap shelf there, and Leon's French copy of The Little Prince is always checked out. Sam, the accountant who gave it to him, jokes, it's the company's unofficial mascot. But not everyone's on board. Garrett Langston, the VP who tried to make Leon the scapegoat, hasn't warmed up. He's quieter now, less openly hostile, but his team still carries his skepticism. One of his managers, during a panel, questioned why non-strategic staff get a say in company goals. Leon didn't clap back. He just asked, "Who keeps this building running when you're not here?" The room went silent, and the manager didn't have an answer. Garrett's influence is fading, not because he's been pushed out, but because the company's starting to value a different kind of voice. Leon's life hasn't changed much. He still clocks in, still cleans glass doors, still reads by Lake No Camis in the mornings, but the questions keep coming. A new hire in HR asks him how to navigate office politics without losing herself. A facilities guy wants to know what it was like teaching in Lyon. Even Clara, Victor's assistant, swings by his office, that old supply closet with a desk, to ask how he stays so calm under pressure. "You don't," Leon tells her. "You just decide what's worth getting loud about." She laughs, says she's stealing that. One afternoon, Victor finds Leon in the courtyard, tightening a bench bolt. "You ever think about what this place would be without you?" Victor asks, half-serious. Leon sets his wrench down. "It'd be fine. I didn't start this, I just opened a door." "You opened a lot more than that," Victor says. He pulls out a